I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact focused on personal growth, my Knowledge Workbook series and Creative Healing course can help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about, are they trying to keep you on the hook? You know, it could be really tough when somebody is giving you a lot of mixed messages where you don't know if they want to be with you or if they're trying to just keep you in like a waiting area. And sometimes it's because that person isn't sure themselves. They don't want to lose you. And so they give you just enough to keep you hooked, but they also don't want to let you go.
Right. And this can lead into some things that are like breadcrumbing, right? Where they're giving you just enough to keep you hanging. But meanwhile, you're suffering in a way because you're not getting what you want. And you're just getting just these little glimpses of what could be, but never the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's not fair for anybody here.
No, and it's tough because we all struggle with uncertainty. The more secure you are and the more confident you are, the less you're going to really struggle with having to know an answer.
Right.
Like the more that you're going to be okay with, they're not too sure, but as long as you don't feel like you're being manipulated or used or something like that, you're going to be a little bit more patient. But a lot of people that are insecure, they want to know right now.
Yeah.
So you got to try and take a step back and look at yourself and think, how are you showing up? Are you like, I want to know right now, and you're forcing an answer, in which case it's usually going to go against you because you don't like the uncertainty? Or is it because the other person is just taking advantage of your patience and, you know, maybe manipulating you?
Right. And as you can tell, there's a lot of nuance in this kind of a situation, right?
Yeah. So we got an email coaching today that's going to look at some of these things. And what do you think? Is this person trying to keep them on the hook? Let's find out. They said, hi, Craig and Victoria. What do you do when you are in a long-term, undefined situationship and discover he's made someone else his girlfriend in the meantime? Okay, so right off the bat, it makes me feel like he didn't see this situation as kind of relationship material, like it was like friends with benefits or hooking up, and that he sees this other person or that situation is more valuable, that he's willing to become exclusive for it.
Right. And I can see here when she's using the word long-term and undefined. I'm curious how that happened. Is there a conversation that we're avoiding here? Why didn't that conversation happen? I'm just curious if it's more of maybe a timidness on her end, or if he's made things clear, you know, this is not going to be a relationship. So I'm curious to hear more of the details.
Hoping he would change his mind or something like that. Yeah, sure, that happens too. And sometimes people don't mind. Sometimes people don't mind like those situationships because their feelings aren't too involved. And sometimes someone's feelings get a lot more intense and they want more. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Yet he keeps coming back and apologizing or telling you he's still thinking of you every month or so for 3 years.
Ugh.
3 years. Okay, let's give out some more info. Okay. I want to be more than a secret or a placeholder, but he chose to not take things further with me. So just based on this, it makes me think like, okay, he's attracted to her, but not enough to be exclusive. Because she's allowing him to hook up with her, he's taking advantage of that.
Well, I'm also curious as to to what degree their relationship is. She had mentioned secret. So is it that like families and friends don't know? Is it that friends know but not family? I'm curious what he's getting out of it and what she's getting out of it. She's clearly not getting out of it what she wants, because she wanted something a bit more deeper and involved. And it sounds like he's holding a bit more of the power here by him saying no.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it sounds like he was actively pursuing other people, right?
But it is a mixed message every month, saying how much he cares about her, whatever it might be, but not following through with a deeper commitment, which is what she wants, right? So somebody here has to compromise.
You have to take a look at somebody's actions compared to their words. I feel like women get very caught up in the guy's words and what he's telling her, and they can ignore the actions. Not that men don't do it too, but I feel like women, for some reason, really think about what a guy says, and so they get tied to where they think it's going to go based on what he's telling, but then his actions are clearly showing that he's actively pursuing other people and doesn't want to be exclusive with her.
Right. And if this is long term, I'm also curious as to how he can be okay with himself in this kind of a situation for so long. Right? If you're with somebody and you can only give a certain amount and they are wanting more, at a certain point you have to decide, even though I'm enjoying this connection, I am hurting this person in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious about if he's aware of how inconsiderate this kind of dynamic can be to the other person.
Yeah, it seems very selfish what he's doing here. It'd be like a company is looking to fill a position and you keep calling up saying, are you still doing interviews? Because I'm really interested in this position. Meanwhile, you've just went out and got another job.
Right.
But you keep contacting the company. I would really like to come in for another interview. When can you schedule that? But you have another job.
Yeah.
That you just got.
Yeah.
All right. She goes on to say, this hurts so bad, but I've been working on myself. Yeah, of course it's going to hurt because, it feels cruel what he's doing. I had lots of neglect growing up. No surprise. We are both over 50, but not all grown up. It seems like he's trying to keep holding on to me. I don't contact him. Why do people hold on to us, but seem to be fine moving on with someone else? He seems to be unable to tell me anything, so he, quote unquote, doesn't hurt me.
Ugh.
It still hurts. This back and forth, designed to keep me on a hook. Thank you, and blessings to sweet Margaret. What are your thoughts?
Wow. So him unable to tell her anything so that it doesn't hurt her. That right there is showing me some of that cognitive dissonance that's happening here. Well, if she just doesn't know, then it's not going to impact her, which I think is not true at all. Because she can sense that he is not giving her, what she needs here and what she's asking for and what she's wanting. And so him saying, oh, I'm not telling you this so that it doesn't hurt you, puts him in his mind in the position of, oh, I'm doing something noble here by protecting this person that I have this situationship with.
If he's telling her the truth, though.
Right. And so in his mind, he can be justified by, oh, well, I'm not hurting her, right? When in reality, if he wasn't doing things to hurt her, then he could be honest with her and not hurt her.
Well, yeah, he's hurting because he's not allowing her to make her decision based on the truth. He's only giving her part of the truth, and I think it is to keep her on the hook. Based on everything that I'm hearing here, and we didn't get the full story, it seems to me like this guy likes hanging out and hooking up, but doesn't see her as more than that. Because it doesn't take someone 3 years to figure out whether or not they want to be exclusive with somebody.
Right.
That's not a normal amount of time. If you said, 8-9 months or something like that, okay, that's fairly reasonable. Or if it's just a friends with benefits thing, that may go on a little bit longer. Yeah, but not not this dynamic. This dynamic feels like she's just being taken advantage of and not being given the truth so he can keep her where he wants her.
Right, and I'm really glad that you had brought up consent because this is a really big part of it. If you have two consenting adults wanting to be in a long-term undefined situationship, go for it. We are supportive of that. If you want to do that and it works for you, whatever works for you. But clearly you can see here that this is not a dynamic that she's okay with, and this is causing her damage over time. And so this puts her in a really tough position. Over time, we do grow attached to people.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's hard to let go, but the longer we stay in a situation where somebody isn't choosing us, it's going to be harder in the long term.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any easier tomorrow. It's going to be harder tomorrow, but it will be easier a year from now if you leave today versus if you wait
Another
a year
year
from now
Yeah.
to try to leave then. And so here it sounds like she's already attached to some degree. It's been some years. There's been some development in their relationship, and it's hard for her to kind of pull away from this. I keep thinking about the thing that we say from time to time where we teach people how to treat us. So while yes, he's, in my opinion, being inconsiderate by keeping her on the hook for so long, there does come a point where her awareness in this really can protect her. She's aware enough to be able to write this email out and say, hey, I'm not getting what I want here. What do I do? So if you've reached this point, then you kind of have to make an assessment here of overall, has this relationship caused me more anxiety, more stress, more discomfort, or has it caused me more peace, more feelings of security, feelings of commitment, feelings of confidence in it?
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing that stands out is like, okay, he's not saying I don't want to be in a relationship and he's not entering a relationship. It's kind of like he's saying I don't want to be in a relationship with you. And please don't let that impact your self-worth because we don't know he's probably just feeling lust for somebody new. And it may not turn out to be anything meaningful or healthy. But we all have to take a look at how we present our value to other people, because the way we respect ourselves and hold other people accountable for how they treat us and standards for ourselves is going to have a big impact on how they see us and how they see our value. Okay. So if we settle for poor behavior, then it comes across to other people like we don't value ourselves. But when we're quick to walk away from somebody that's not treating us the way we want, it shows them, if I don't shape up or do something about this, I'm going to lose that person.
Right. And it's tough because I know that people can be very skilled in telling you what you want to hear. And it's hard. Clearly in this relationship, they've gotten to know each other really well. It sounds like on a regular basis, he kind of pulls this pity me, I care about you, I want you in my life, this is about me and my needs. And you're seeing with actions that your needs aren't being prioritized really at all here.
Yep.
And so while I know that the two of you have a connection and it feels good and it probably feels nice to hear him say that he wants you regularly, right? We want to see somebody act up and step up to the plate to be able to show you those things.
And another thing you want to think about is your dynamic with your parents. And if they were giving you mixed messages with love and they were absent from you and your life, and so maybe that's why you're drawn to somebody that might feel familiar to them.
Right. And so in this case, I would say master the art of leaving. There's an art of leaving, right? And of course, it's always your decision. It's up to you. If you're consenting to this kind of dynamic, then go for it. But you have to look at the pattern that's been happening throughout the years here.
Yeah.
Has he been able to commit? Have things been able to escalate to the point where you want? Him going and finding somebody else to commit to would be so offensive to me if I were in your position.
Yeah, me too. It'd be one thing if they were like, I'm not ready for anything, and then they're not dating anybody.
Right.
But if they are telling me this and then they start getting exclusive with somebody else, no. That's a no-go for me.
And we know that one thing that those with more avoidant attachment styles can do is they tend to triangulate, right? And this is kind of where you split up your attention and affection amongst several people in order to avoid deeper intimacy with one. And that's not to say you can't have, many loves in your life or whatever it might be, but this it can be an avoidant attachment kind of mechanism, right? To
Sure.
avoid that one-on-one, deeper, committed kind of connection.
Yep. I'd be very, 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 very careful here. Did I miss a couple varies?
Me as well. And this, I would say, is getting to the point where it is emotional breadcrumbing, right?
Yep.
This is time after time. He knows how to get you. And these things might be genuine. I don't mean to say that he's, BSing his way through this. It might be genuine that he does want you in his life, but you have to think about to which capacity, and to which capacity are you okay with that or not. Now, I also want to warn you that you may or may not see a switch up. If you decide that you no longer want to be in this kind of situationship, you may see that switch up where he's saying, you know what, no, I'm ready to do things differently, and I promise this time and that time.
Yeah.
So you want to be aware, and I mean, we tell you guys this on the flip side too. We tell you that many of you will act in very reactionary ways in order to try to get your ex back. That's based on anxiety and impulse, and not on actual, decisions that you're going to follow through on. And so on this flip side, you might see that from him, where he's responding in a panic way of, I don't want you to be out of my life, because even after 3 years, even if this is a situationship, I'm attached to you.
Yep.
Right? So be aware of that. And if you're going to make a decision, make sure that you have that follow through, that you can commit to yourself and your decisions to protect yourself.
If it was me, I would say to him, look, you're dating somebody right now, and it's disrespectful to her and to me and to yourself to be reaching out to me when you're exclusive with somebody else. And you really ought to think about how you're hurting everyone involved by reaching out to me and, saying that you have feelings for me when you're with somebody else. So, why don't you contact me if you're single and you're looking to be exclusive, and act like an adult with me.
Right.
I think she has the right to stand up for herself here.
I agree.
It's been 3 years of this.
I agree. And I would also say, it seems like she may have been more committed to him than him to her.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah.
I wonder what other opportunities in her life she might have been shutting down, whether consciously or unconsciously.
And missing out on.
Right? Because of this loyalty to him. So not sure if that will resonate, but just throwing that out there, Think about the other opportunities you have. I know it's difficult when there's 3 years behind your belt with somebody, whether that's a situationship, whether that's something more established, but ultimately, you want somebody who's going to be willing to step up to that plate.
Absolutely. All right, a lot to think about here. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.